Hi, I'm David Merritt, Vice President and National Policy Director at the Center for Health Transformation, reporting to you from Washington, D.C. Boy, what a wild ride it's been over the last year regarding health reform. And the ride isn't over yet. It got a lot bumpier last week for congressional Democrats and President Obama with the election of Scott Brown to the United States Senate. Democrats were weeks, if not days, away from passing comprehensive health reform for the first time in a generation. However, the election of Scott Brown has complicated their progress, most certainly. Congressional negotiators between the House and Senate have been working over the past several weeks to iron out the differences between the bill that passed the House in early November and the bill that passed the Senate on Christmas Eve. Some of those differences are pretty significant. The Senate bill includes a tax on what has been known as Cadillac plans, or high-value health plans, that a lot of unions have negotiated in lieu of higher wages through collective bargaining. This tax has not gone over well in the House and faces stiff opposition. The Senate bill also includes state-based insurance exchanges, whereas the House bill has one national exchange. The Senate bill also has less restrictive language when it comes to abortion services and abortion coverage. The House bill contains strict prohibitions on federal dollars going to cover abortion services or abortion coverage at all. Representative Bart Stupak fought for that and included that in the House bill. So those were some of the differences that were trying to be ironed out between congressional negotiators and the President until Scott Brown came to town. Now, the significance of his election is that up until now, Majority Leader Harry Reid had a 60-vote supermajority in the Senate. That means that they could get any bill to the floor, cut off debate, and move to final passage without any Republican support. Now, with only 59 votes, that means that Harry Reid will need at least one Republican to cross over to bring a bill up for a vote. The reason that's significant is because as congressional negotiators were finalizing their deal, the bill was going to have to go back to the House and then back to the Senate for one final vote. That isn't going to happen with Scott Brown sitting there. So that leaves two alternatives. One is for the House to actually take what the Senate passed on Christmas Eve and pass it itself. That would be the quickest way to end this and send the President a bill to sign. However, it's not the easiest because there are a lot of provisions in the Senate bill that the House Democrats have said we cannot accept. What has been proposed is using what's called budget reconciliation to try and fix some of those things that the House Democrats don't support. This is somewhat of an end around the normal procedure when it comes to legislation, in that reconciliation only needs 51 votes for passage in the Senate. However, there are a lot of restrictions on what can be included in that bill. So it's a dicey proposition for the House to pass the Senate bill and then try and send it a reconciliation bill. That would also fly in the face of public rejection of what's happened over the past year. As this graph shows you, as the public has learned more about the plans that have been coming out of Washington, the less they support them. Public support has fallen and public opposition has grown over the past year. So passing the Senate bill and then trying to fix it with reconciliation would ignore the public sentiment that's been growing over the past year. That leaves what we think is the best alternative and the best way forward. That is to start the process over. President Obama and congressional Democrats should truly reach out in a legitimate way to congressional Republicans and try and find bipartisan agreements on moving forward. We think that starts with delivery reform. Everyone knows that our system costs too much and costs too many lives. The inefficiencies and waste in the system are breathtaking. But things like delivery reforms, including payment reform, health information technology, focusing on health, wellness, and prevention, are things that everyone agrees are good things. And those can be the basis of an agreement moving ahead. In fact, health IT is a perfect example of how Republicans and Democrats can work together around common issues. Founder of the Center for Health Transformation, Newt Gingrich, and former Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle, prominent Democrat, are actually co-authoring the foreword to our new book on health IT called Hit or Miss. It'll be available next month in February. It just shows you that when there is agreement between the parties on issues like health information technology, on providing incentives for health and wellness, we can find common ground. We know that'll save lives, and we know that'll save money. So we call for the President and for congressional Democrats to reach across the aisle in a meaningful way to congressional Republicans to try and find those issues of agreement and to move forward in a bipartisan way. We'll be working on some of those issues and some of those proposals ourselves over the next few weeks at the Center for Health Transformation. Check our website, healthtransformation.net, for more details.